Driver PT, episode 8, type 1, out of sync and in sync of the thoracic spine. We finished up on episode 7. The nice thing about not editing this stuff and allowing it to be very authentic is that, hey, you know what, we slip up, we make some mistakes sometimes. I did intend, before we get to the sagittal plane like stuff, I did intend to show you one more position for our cervical spine and shoulder pathology related stuff, in which an individual, if they're not able to position and get the arm overhead, then we can do that. So my apologies on that right there. So if we want a type 1 out of sync with left rotation, so what's going to happen is we need rotation to the left, but we need then side bend to the right. So before, what this looked like was this right here, was this right there, but now we're going to be doing this. So left arm is going to be rotating and swinging, maybe shoulder, chest, armpit high, and right arm, depending on the individual, can just kind of side bend down between the legs to the left right here, as the left arm rotates to the left, or it can cross over the left leg. So as I'm rotating left, right arm is just going to reach down kind of on the L90 kind of vector, or L kind of 135. And so we'll try and stay up a little bit higher with that, so we're not biasing whether it's the kind of the sagittal plane with the flexion. So we'll do the same thing right here, kind of in sync. And that arm then appears like it's going overhead high just due to the side bend with the right upper extremity driver. So what we're going to get into a jam with now is that sagittal plane stuff we've been kind of chatting about. So let's go in sync, or out of sync and in sync type 1. Before, as we use the right upper extremity to rotate to the left arm just reach straight overhead to the right, strictly kind of frontal plane. Let's reach overhead to the right, but now behind us a little bit more to drive a little more extension in the thoracic spine. So what this will look like is this right here. So I can shorten up my stance a little bit. If you're seeing a patient's not getting a ton of motion right here, shorten it on up. Go a little more extension here and here, here and here. Let's try something out of sequence a little bit so that I can show you the difference between the two. What would that look like if we incorporated flexion? It would look like this right here. So just a little trunk lean. The right arm is going to rotate, swing down into the left. Left arm is going to reach overhead to the right. In sync, what that will look like if I'm going after the extension, nice and upright, rotating to the left. Left arm is reaching overhead to the right, but then also reaching behind me, kind of posterior lateral, to drive extension. What we will do then in terms of showing you a little flexion, so boom and boom, boom and boom, type 1 out of sync and in sync with the flexion kind of bias. If I don't want the arm jamming overhead as much, I'm adding a little trunk lean with the left rotation, the right arm kind of reaching down into the left to give me that right side bend. What this would look like if we were to switch it up and kind of flip-flop it to the other side, we would have, so we went through episode 7, again, all the in sync and the out of sync without the X. We're going to go after the extension right now, and then the flexion out of sync and then in sync. So let's just go with an RXX-like stance, meaning the right leg is forward. Left arm is going to rotate to the right. Right arm reaches overhead to the left, but then it also reaches behind us, posterior lateral, to give us a little more of that extension. And so just kind of get in the groove a little bit, and I'll let my head kind of rotate. Just kind of swirl, swivel, and go with the trunk to drive the trunk. What that would look like if I wanted to go after a little flexion would be here. A little trunk lean, a little left, upper extremity rotating to the right, right upper extremity reaching overhead and to the left, in sync with the extension bias. So look right here, so I'm not just reaching overhead and to the left, reaching over the head and to the left, and then also behind me. So I'm driving that extension. Thoracic spine is really feeling that, really digging it. And then, of course, we'll add the flexion bias. Left upper extremity rotating to the right as I lean in with my trunk and as my right arm reaches overhead to the left. With those guys again, if I wanted to add another way to go after the flexion, depending on the individual, again with the arm, maybe being able to reach overhead, I'm going to add a little anterior reach with the left upper extremity. So right arm is rotating to the right. The left arm is going to reach down to the right, giving me the left side bend. There's out of sync and here is in sync. There you are, guys. There's 8 episodes, Thoracic Spine Matrix. Great news is that we're just getting started. Many options to go about customizing and hypothesizing what will help you and the individuals you're working with maximize your genetic potential, find where you and others around you are successful, find out where you're limited, and close the gap.